If alien landscapes, lunar trails, or forests filled with towering trees sound like your kind of adventure, you're in the right place. We're wildlings and waypoints, and this is our journey through Haleakala, including a sunset you're not going to want to miss. As we wound our way up to Haleakala, the road climbed fast, twisting through cool air and shifting clouds, and every few minutes the view changed completely. Our first stop as we were making our way to the summit was Hosmere Grove Trail. It's a little more than a half-mile loop, but it's such an interesting one. It begins in a forest that doesn't actually belong here. Back in the late 1800s, ranchers cleared out the native trees. This resulted in erosion of the soil. Later, Ralph Hosmere tried to repair the erosion and spark a timber industry by planting species from all over the world. A handful of these trees survived, and some a little too well. A few turned out to be invasive, and the park is slowly removing them. As you walk the loop, you can certainly feel the shift. One moment you're under these tall trees, non-native giants, and the next you're stepping onto native scrubland. It's such a clear contrast and a quiet reminder of how easily an ecosystem can be changed. Even though the trail is short, there's a lot here that makes it worth a stop. My daughter loved checking out the big binocular viewers at the overlook. There are also a few signs along the trail that point out the different plants and the native birds in the area, which makes it fun to pause and learn a little as you go. And honestly, it's just a peaceful spot to slow down. There are benches tucked along the path where you can sit for a moment and take in the grove before heading higher up the mountain. Since it is a loop trail, you'll pass by the giant trees one more time. And if you're like my family, you'll take every opportunity to commune with nature and sometimes hug a tree or two. And just as a practical note, there's a small parking area and bathrooms here, and a nearby camping ground that can be reserved if you want to stay overnight on the mountain. After stretching our legs walking through Hosmere Grove Trail, we hopped back in the car and continued the drive up the summit. Next stop, Haleakalā Visitor Center. This visitor center is about 10 miles from the summit. It's a great place to take a pause. You can stretch your legs, use the restroom, and get a feel for what's ahead before you climb the rest of the way up the mountain. After a quick stop at the visitor center, we continued our climb up the mountain. And it only took a few minutes for us to arrive at our next stop, a historic ranch wall. When you first look at the rock wall, it may not look like much, just stones stacked on top of one another. But once you know the story behind it, you start to see it differently. Back in the late 1800s, ranchers built this wall by hand, stretching it nearly 2 miles to guide the cattle across the harsh landscape and toward the pastures on both sides of the island. Ranching shaped so much of Maui's early economy and culture. As we kept climbing, the landscape started to feel even more desolate. The trees dropped away, the ground turned rough and open, and these thin, wispy clouds drifted low across the road. It almost felt like we were driving through the sky. We finally made it to the summit, and of course the girls made a beeline for the sign on the Summit Lookout building, 10,023 feet above sea level, proof that we really were standing on top of Maui. From up here, the views stretch in every direction. You can see the crater dropping away below you, the cliffs and the cinder cones scattered across the basin, and on a clear day, you can even see the tops of the other islands floating on the horizon. Off in the distance, you can see the Haleakalā observatories perched along the ridge. They were built up here near the highest point of Maui because this spot has some of the best viewing conditions on the entire planet. We still had hours before sunset, so that gave us plenty of time for a hike down Sliding Sands Trail. The trailhead starts just below the summit at 9,740 feet. The full route of this trail depends on where you decide to turn around. It's roughly 11 miles round trip if you go all the way down to the crater floor and back. And you can extend it even farther by connecting with other trails deeper in the valley. But one of the most popular options, and the one that we chose, is the shorter version, hiking about 2 miles in, then turning around for a 4-mile round trip that gives you a great sense of the landscape without committing to a full day. The trail is made up of loose volcanic cinder that shifts under your feet. That's where the name sliding sands comes from. Erosion has shaped this area for thousands of years, carving down the cinder cones and revealing layers of old ash and lava. As you hike, you'll notice the changing of colors from gray to brown to reddish tones, depending on the minerals and the age of the deposits. There's also life here. Even in this harsh environment, the Haleakalā silver sword grows only on this mountain, a spiky, shimmering plant that can live up to 90 years and blooms just once in its life. If you're lucky, you might also spot the nene, the Hawaiian endangered state bird, wandering around the trails. After a couple of miles, we turned around and headed back toward the summit. The climb out is definitely the toughest part because the air is thin. Even a short hike on sliding sands gives you a whole new perspective on the crater and on this incredible mountain. If you decide to make hiking the Haleakalā your next adventure, remember that preparation is key. The summit can feel calm, but it's definitely a place where you need to be prepared. The weather can flip in an instant. Warm sunshine one minute, cold wind or mist the next. So dressing in layers is a good idea, and a little rain gear never hurts. The air is thin at this elevation too, so stay mindful of signs of altitude sickness. Things like headache, lightheadedness, or shortness of breath. And even though it's cool up here, the sun is strong. So sunscreen and lots of water are your best friends. As the sun starts to get lower in the sky, you can feel the temperature dropping. At the summit, the temperature is roughly 30 degrees less than it is at the beach. So it's important to come prepared, and if you're not prepared, then you should be prepared to use whatever you have. For us, it was towels and some jackets. If you're planning your own adventure up to Haleakalā, just know that the parking fills up fast. You will want to arrive at least 2 hours before sunset in order to snag a spot without any stress. While we waited, I looked around and I loved the little scene that was unfolding around us. Families bundled in jackets, people wrapped in blankets, a few smart folks lounging in camping chairs. Everyone was just settling in, waiting together for this moment above the clouds. Haleakalā means House of the Sun. Hawaiian legend says that the demigod Maui once climbed this mountain to slow the sun. He snared its rays at the summit and held on until the sun agreed to move more slowly across the sky. And that's how Haleakalā got its name, the House of the Sun. And now we'll let the sunset speak for itself. Watching the sun slip below the clouds was a perfect way to end our day on Haleakalā. Thanks for being here with us. We can't wait to share our next adventure with you.